Yes. I want to commend you on the film because I thought your work on it was wonderful. And I, being a filmmaker, I know the troubles and heartaches that editors and producers go through in choosing the final piece. I had to do a film about a year or two ago also on the First Amendment dealing with Smith Act trials, which finally, had worked their way up to the Supreme Court and were finally found in favor of the defendants, and they were both released and exonerated. And I'm wondering whether you think any of these cases will work their way into the Supreme Court and for final, and will you follow them?
We'll always be in, I mean, we're in constant, we get updates from the characters themselves, or, like you make these relationships, and of course you want to know what happened to them. In terms of, yes, we would love to have a sequel to, but I think we'll try our best either on the HBO website or, to go back in a couple of years to do a follow-up. But, these cases take a while, so we definitely will. We all have our Google alerts still, and we get emails from them.
Is there any kind of concerted outreach effort or mobilization effort with, whether it's ACLU or Lawyers Committee for Civil Rights, and any specific groups that have become active for the film in getting people engaged or involved in these issues?
Yeah, I mean, there is a huge education outreach component to, and you can find on their website. It's curriculum, and also.
What's the website?
It's hbo.com and /Shouting Fire. And ACLU has mostly the New York chapter has been very much involved. I mean, I'm sure you all know, like, a lot of them are losing their funding, so they're having a hard time themselves, and if you are in the position to help, you should. And, I think, like, people like Donna Lieberman, who's just totally amazing. She's been a friend and supportive of the film, and she's getting, it's symbiotic relationship.
Hey, we have one way in the back on the stage left. Right over here.
Thank you.
Yes, it seems to me like out of all the horrible that happened in the 20th century, Hitler was unfortunately horribly successful. And I don't know that the world has recovered since Hitler was on the planet. And it seems to me like in my lifetime that Osama bin Laden is the most successful, horrible person. And I don't think that America or the world recovered in terms of our civil liberties or our psyche pre-9/11. And what happened afterwards as a reaction is disgusting, but the man was horribly successful because we've lost so much in America and nobody seems to care.
Should we leave that stand as a comment?
Just a comment.
Okay, that's fine. There's one over here.
Hi. I have two questions. First of all, throughout the film, which was of course wonderful, I kept wishing I could hear some sort of a contrast and some sort of elaboration on hate speech related legislation. And my second thing is,
Wait, just to clarify, a contrast meaning you wanted somebody there to advocate in a way for why hate speech should be kind of an exception to...
well, I wanted, because of my own ignorance of the exact legislation, I hear the term hate speech being thrown around all the time in the press. I know it's used many times to muzzle people. I often agree with them being muzzled, but my whole point is I'm unaware of this. So I understood very clearly the arguments in favor of it, the importance of, and the legislation supporting free speech, and because of my own ignorance, I was wishing for something more about the hate speech related legislation. I don't know if you have anything to offer, and then quickly let me ask you my second question, then I'll shut up and I'll let you treat my questions as you like. My second thing was, I was thinking about a very disturbing situation when my boyfriend's high school student daughter came home one day and said that her history teacher, when talking about the Holocaust, had told her class that the Jews were repeating what had happened to them in the Middle East. And this is what a high school history teacher told his 15-year-old students. So again, whereas I saw the question of the high school boy being stopped, the whole question of curriculum planning, what's allowable, is there some limit that we should be putting on free speech of professors talking to over 18 college students? Should there be or should there not be limits on teachers in the K-12 system on what they are allowed or not allowed to say to kids? Anyway, thank you.
Thanks for the question. Hard ones.
Yes. In terms of hate speech, I think it all kind of falls under the category of imminent danger, causing imminent danger, which is what shouting fire is. Shouting fire in the theater is not hate speech per se, but it would cause imminent danger to many, many people. And I would say, you know, one of the interesting things, for example, with Chase's t-shirt is we never quite knew how he came up with the phrasing himself, but it was very smart in legal terms, because had he gone a little bit more to the inciting violence against, you know, homosexuals, then it would be a clear-cut case of you can't do that. That's just call it hate speech or calling, you know, endangering other people. And if, you know, he was really treading the line of expressing a political opinion, so, which is, you know, which he has the right to do. And in terms of school speech and school-sponsored speech, specifically in a classroom, it's not really a First Amendment issue per se. I mean, it gets muddier. I mean, people definitely do take it up to the Supreme Court under the First Amendment, and I think one of the most important things about free speech is to teach, in terms of teaching, is that you teach your students to either counter or do the research to counter or ask the question. I mean, in some ways I don't know, I feel like I would prefer, it depends on what that teacher, what context he's saying it. Is he indoctrinating? Is he indoctrinating in such a way that if you disagree with me, then you fail the class, then clearly any sort of opinion would not be a good learning environment. But yeah, I don't think the classroom should become like a pulpit place for anyone to express their political opinion. But on the other hand, how old was the student? 15. Yeah, it's definitely at the age where there could be a good debate that could have been started in the class, and in some ways I think that might be a good thing. It depends on the...
But it was a pronouncement by the teacher. It wasn't a question.
Right.
It was a pronouncement. He said, in the Middle East, the Jews are doing to the Palestinians exactly what was done to them in the Holocaust. History is repeating itself. That's what his affirmation is.
Well, good for your boyfriend's son, you said, for actually coming home and reporting it. I don't know what the legal ramifications are of
Right.
that at all.
Yeah, I think that's case by
Should that be allowed? Is that just the teacher exercising his free rights?
No, I don't think teachers have unlimited free speech rights in classrooms. I mean, you can't go into school and say 2 + 2 = 5, and that's my free speech right. So I think it's definitely something that they need to examine and explore.
We may not have the legal expertise up here to answer the question. It's a really, really interesting case, and maybe for the sequel of Shouting Fire. Can we take another?